Then Venny, one of the most impressive players so far that we've seen on the PS4, scores an impressive goal.
What's up guys, and welcome to episode 1 of the FIFA 20 Masterclass with SaintsVenny. And today we're going to be going over the best formations and custom tactics to use depending on your play style and just sort of what is the best in FIFA 20. So for me, I would say there's two main formations in FIFA with how sort of the meta is being played right now. We've got the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-3-1, and I'll just quickly go over the meta before we actually get into the details of the different formations. So the meta, in my opinion, it's more so playing defensive, put people behind the ball, and then when you've got the ball, take your time, go down the wing and just build up on the wing play. So this is why I'm covering the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-3-1, because I think they give you the best options down the wing and also just very meta when it comes to defending and also attacking. What I would say, there's two different styles though. We'll start with the 4-4-2. The 4-4-2 is good for them more tiki-taka, fast-paced players. If you're trying to just go from A to B, you're not really worried about passing it around the back and just taking your time. If you just want to go to A to B, like the 4-1-2-1-2, narrow back in a day, 4-4-2 is probably the best one for you, and that is because you've got the two strikers, you've got the right mid, left mid, and the two centre mids. And if you play with the two strikers, you can just do 1-2 passes with them, set one on the run, play a through ball, and obviously either score a sweaty goal or score near post, whatever the finish you obviously choose to do, and which we will have later on coming into this series is a finishing tutorial on how to basically utilise when you're in front of goal. So let's get into the defensive style tactics. What I would use personally, I would have a defensive style on balance. Obviously there is other options. You've got press after possession loss, press on heavy touch, and balance, and obviously drop back, constant pressure. Sorry, I forgot about them too. But for me, I personally prefer balance because I'm able to press myself. I don't need the game to automatically press it, and sometimes obviously when you're going with the pressure, you're taking a lot of risk very early on. So I have it on balance, keep it quite simple, and I would probably go with about a 5 width, so you have just a standard, you know, sort of shape within your team. And then in depth, I would look to doing about 4 to 5 to 6. I wouldn't go anything over 6 unless you're losing and you're trying to pull the game back. But if you're just trying to keep the game quite balanced, quite simple, really, when it comes to the defensive side, I would use about a 4 or a 5 into your play. Into the offensive style, and as I said, this formation is for them people who like going to A to B. We're not, you know, passing it around the back. We're not taking our time. We're not going from CDM to centre back to right back to, you know, to right mid and then coming back to your right back, switching the ball. We're not doing that. We're going from A to B, using the pace what we've got at Southampton and utilising it how they would in real life. And that's why 4-4-2 is probably one of the better formations in FIFA 20, just because how meta it is within real life and also obviously in game. Offensive style, obviously though, we've got balance, long ball, fast build up, possession. It really varies with what you want to do. You can use possession, even though I said obviously you want to be using going to A to B, but a lot of times your right mid and left mid will go wandering off sometimes when you're using like a balance. So personally, I use possession if I'm playing if I'm trying to be a little bit more smarter with the ball. But if I'm just not worried about losing the ball, I'm just going from A to B. Put it on balance, 5 width, players in the box about a 4. Yeah, very simple stuff. You know, you're probably thinking they just uses it very basic, and that is how I do it. I keep it simple because when you try and complicate things using like press on heavy touch and then using like long ball, you're just confusing a lot of things when you don't need to. You keep it simple, keep it to what you know, and yeah, that is what I would use in the custom tags. And in the player instructions, what I would use stay back while attacking on the right back and left back, so they're very basic. Keep it simple. With the right back and left back being on stay back, you're not going to be very vulnerable on the counter attack, which is the key to it. As I mentioned, the meta of the game is to basically put people behind the ball and then try and, you know, hit down the wings. With your wingers being on balance, when you're in attack, they will obviously fly up and be in more of an aggressor out of possession, and that leaves a lot of space down the wing. So that's why I just have them on stay back. We don't need them down the wing anyway because we've got the right mid and left mid. So that's why I would put stay back while attacking on them. And then I would put stay back while attacking on both the centre mids with cover centre at a defensive position, because you want them to be in the middle at all times. And with the stay back while attacking, because they're centre mids, they will still naturally help you in the attack. But a lot of times they will be going too aggressive if you do have it on balance. So keep that in mind. That's why I have it on stay back while attacking. As I say, we're trying to make sure we're not conceding goals, but also having a good chance when we do have the ball to score goals. So you've got to be a little bit cautious with what you're doing. You don't want to be too aggressive, because a lot of times you might be left with just two at the back, and obviously they might be able to outnumber you. So that's why I put stay back while attacking and cover centre on the centre mids. And as I mentioned, they will still help you in the attack because of the centre mid natural sort of positioning. Then we've got the right mid and left mid. So we've got come back on defense on the right mid and left mid. I would say if you're using balanced attacking sort of style, use come back on defense. If you're using possession, just go on balance and keep them basic, because with balance, obviously they're going to be more aggressive in the natural just sort of positioning with possession. So you can actually get away with it with balance and balance. You're going to have a lot of problems sort of when it comes to it, sort of that stuff. So that is what I would use on the right mid and left mid, depending obviously on your defensive, your attacking behaviour. And then I would also go support and runs. I would have just keep it on basic. I don't need to put it getting behind. I don't need to do any of that. I can trigger the runs by using LB and RB, which I will also come in with another video very soon. Basically top 5 tips what people don't know about what works in FIFA 20. So that will be coming as well. But I would just keep it on balance. Just keep it simple. These two will obviously be your outlet when you're coming out of defense with the ball, and then when you get the ball, try and get into them quick, try and turn the defenders as you would in real life. Right, as I was mentioning, there is 2 formations in my opinion really when it comes to competitive FIFA and just playing meta when it comes to FIFA. And it's the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-3-1. We just covered the 4-4-2, but now we've got the 4-2-3-1. This for me is my preferred formation. This is because you're playing a bit more of a slower sort of pace. You take your time and you just sort of want to make a perfect chance. 4-2-3-1 is going to be the way for that, because 4-4-2, as I said, it is one of them formations go to A to B, but 4-2-3-1 is more of an A, B, C, and then back to A. You know, sort of just keep rotating it. That is the key to the 4-2-3-1. What the beauty of this is because you've got that cam, and for me that's what I was missing when I play like a 4-4-2. It's that middle guy who's sort of my vocal point where I can just sort of pass into him and use him as like obviously my option out of defense, where 4-4-2 is the option to get into your 2 strikers and turn them. With 4-2-3-1 obviously go into your cam and sort of play as your sort of creator, your pocket player as such. But yeah, 4-2-3-1 is for them players who want to be a little bit more slower and a little bit more smarter within possession and also out of possession. 4-2-3-1 is probably the better one if you're looking to not concede. If you think you concede a bit too much, 4-2-3-1 would be the way forward, just because if you've already got naturally 2 defensive players as well as you're obviously back for the centre mids and 4-4-2, as I mentioned, still aggress forward, but your CDMs, because it's a centre defensive mid, they'd be a little bit more defensive without out possession and in possession even. But yeah, this is obviously the 4-2-3-1. As I mentioned, it is better for the players who want it to be a little bit slower, a little bit smarter. And let's go into obviously the custom tactics. For me, as once again, I keep everything basic. 5-4-5-4. I don't want to try and change it up too much. Sometimes I might change it to like even 3 players in the box, because I'm just trying to be a little bit slower with it. Make sure I get the perfect chance. As I mentioned, the meta of the game is hit your right back and your left back, hit down the wings, come back into your right back or your CDMs, into your cam, to your striker, and then turn out and finish. That is usually sort of the typical FIFA 20 goals you will see in competitive FIFA. 4-2-3-1 allows you to sort of achieve that, and it probably is the most user-friendly formation just because it is so simple to use. You'll see teams in real life use it all the time, so you sort of understand how they use it and you can just copy them. Really, that's all you have to do. You just have to copy them with how they play. But yeah, for me, balance 5-4-5-4. You can obviously, I wouldn't even say possession is really needed with the 4-2-3-1, just because you have that cam sort of in. Like when you've got possession, you can just look for your cam to be the out sort of let. With the possession on 4-4-2, it obviously brings your right mid and left mid in a little bit tighter, so that's why I would use possession on that. But balance for me when it comes to 4-2-3-1, the play instructions I would use are stay back on your right back and left back. As mentioned in the 4-4-2, I'm not trying to get my right back and left back attacking. Unless I'm a couple goals down, I might obviously put them on balance with Johnny attack just so I can get a bit more attacking play within my team. But when it's a 0-0 or I've got the lead, I want to make sure I'm not conceding goals. I'm making sure I'm defensively solid, and then I'll focus on the attack and then bring that into play. So that's why I've got stay back on the right back and left backs. CDMs, because as I mentioned, they are more defensive, not really trying to push up too much. I usually play one on stay back while attacking cover centre and one on just balance and cover centre, because I do want that extra man sometimes. You know, when you play them people who don't really press the ball and you seem to like get outnumbered in your attack, you get it to your strike and you're like, I've got no options here. They got 4 people on me just because they're not pressing the ball. What allows this centre defensive mid being on balance, it allows you to have that extra deeper run to be able to open up another player and make them actually press you, because if they don't actually follow that run, they're going to be in big trouble, to be honest with you. And I would recommend using more of an attacking player, somebody who's better on the ball, who can finish. You'll see pros use like a Rude Hullet sort of in this role, and then your more defensive one on the stay back one. When it comes to the cams, I keep this on basic, on balance, on everything. I don't try and change it up. As I mentioned, I try and keep everything simple. I don't need to make it complicated because it's not needed within FIFA 20. The game's very simple. It's very like, I think everyone can pick up the meta very quickly, and you don't need to add certain things in like free roaming, driftwise and that. Just keep it balanced, keep it simple way it comes as. You could, if you really wanted to, put like getting a box on your Ram and Lamb, because if you go down the wing, obviously you want that, maybe that deep run from your right attacking mid or your left attacking mid, but just naturally they make the run anyway. You could another option, what a few pros do, is they put stay forward on their cam, just because he's that vocal point out of your team and he's a little bit higher pressed up when obviously it comes to that. Sorry if you hear the background noise. Obviously recording from home is a little bit more difficult with what noise we're coming through here. And then one more striker. Keep this on balance, keep it as basic, as I mentioned in a future video with the top 5 tips what you might not know about. I'll talk about the players' runs and just sort of understanding what they do. And that is why I keep my striker on balance. If you really want, you can add in things like getting behind into your striker, or even target man on him. If you're looking for some more details really when it comes to custom tactics and formations, and you want to know exactly what I use for foot champs, head over to my YouTube channel, SaintsVenny, youtube.com/SaintsVenny, and you'll be able to see my custom tactics there, and sort of going into detail a little bit more. I do different advices on different formations, so maybe that gives you some advice on finding your best custom tactics for yourself, but also what I use and what you can obviously implicate into your game. But that'll be it for episode 1 of the FIFA 20 Masterclass with SaintsVenny. I appreciate you all tuning in. Hopefully this sort of gives you an understanding what best formations are in game, and obviously next episode we'll be talking about the best lineups in these formations for you to go into the game and be able to pick the best team possible for your wins. But yeah, peace.